we're going to talk about lift and how it's produced by the airplane. But first, we have to go over the four forces acting upon an airplane when it's in flight. The first of these is thrust. Thrust is created by the propeller and pulls the airplane forward. The second is drag. Drag is a backwards force created by the friction of the air flowing over the aircraft. The third is lift, which we'll be talking about today, and the fourth is weight. The weight of the aircraft pulls the airplane down. For the airplane to go forward, the thrust has to be greater than drag. And for the airplane to stay in the air, lift has to be greater than weight. Well, we know how thrust is produced, how drag is produced, and how weight is produced, but what about lift? How does the airplane produce lift? Well, let's find out. The aircraft utilizes something called Bernoulli's principle. Bernoulli's principle states that as fluid as the speed of a fluid increases, pressure decreases. Well, how does this have anything to do with how an airplane produces lift? Well, let's dig a little deeper and we'll find out. Airplanes utilize a specific shape in their wing called an airfoil. The airfoil works because the wind coming at it is split in two. Some goes underneath, some goes on top. But because they both have to reach the same point in a given amount of time, and the top one has a greater distance to travel, the wind going over the airfoil has to travel faster. And the wind going underneath is a little bit slower than on top. And what does this have to help with us? How does this help us? Well, it's because of Bernoulli's principle. As the speed of a fluid increases, pressure decreases. Since the air going over the airplane is faster, its pressure decreases. And the air on the bottom is slower, so its pressure increases. Since the air on the bottom has a higher pressure, it's producing upward force on the airfoil. And since the air on top has a really low pressure, it's making it easier for the high pressure on the bottom to push the aircraft up. And that is how an aircraft produces lift.